Well, welcome to the very first episode of Behind the Letter with special guest Natalie.
Hello.
Welcome, very first guest. And if you have not seen her video yet, I suggest you go check that out. Link is in the description. And you ready to jump in?
Yeah, let's do this.
All right. So you talked a lot about, like, the overall theme was about giving and receiving love, right? And
Mm,
how your love definition has changed over the years. So I guess I want to bring up a quote that I really like that kind of stood out to me.
yeah.
Is the way you navigate life is filled with things you've learned to keep you lonely. So what does that mean to you specifically from your experience?
Um, Pretty much, I mean, my biological mother did the best she could and everything. Like when I say mama, I mean a woman I met when I was like 20 years old. But their idea of love was very like conditional. Like there was a lot of strings attached to gifts. Um, it was like this really insane understanding that if someone loves you they can't love anybody else, is that whole like possessive type of thing. um my biological mother even said one time, like, you can't love a child that you didn't give birth to, which is which is a lie. Like, how many people like adopt kids and love them, um but it was like a really twisted idea. Like, you have to do these things for me, otherwise you don't love me. So it was very conditional. And just learning to love that way. Um, I didn't understand like when somebody actually loved me. Like it was one of those, you're looking at her and blah blah blah. That really ragefully jealous, crazy person is basically what I was. And then what my mama showed me, and it took me like 15, 16 years to finally understand, that love does not have conditions. There are no strings attached to gifts. You can love so many people, and it's not just deduced to, I don't know, biological family or a sexual partner. Love is like I love you and I don't even know you that well, but it's like that. Everybody has the ability to love everyone else, even though like some people are like, I don't know if I could even love them. But um it's not being jealous, it's not being possessive, it's freeing, it's supporting people, trying to bring them up, happy when they succeed. If they have to go out of your life, then you let them go. Love is very freeing. It doesn't mean you stop loving somebody. Like, somebody can hurt you a lot, it doesn't mean you're going to stop loving that person, but you probably won't like them very much, or even like feel like it's borderline hate. But my mom is the one that taught me that I was lovable, even though I was a freaking mess. But, and I always explain it this way, it's like she went to the depths of hell to retrieve me, pull me out of my own hell. And I'm like, oh my God, this person does love me unconditionally. You can love more than one person. It's not, because it's not fair, to go, you can't have those friends, you can't anything. That's not love. That's, they're treating you like a possession of some kind, some sort of object. But even then, if you love somebody, you're going to allow them to use your car if they need it.
Yeah.
So it went from very restricted, because that's what I was taught. And I was an extremely jealous person for a very long time. Um, but jealousy is actually, it keeps you restricted. So in regards to the quote you just said, that's how I lost people. Nobody wants somebody like that.
Mm.
And I never really put it together until, like, I always, I'm gonna say my mama like metaphorically bitch slapped me to get me to see like what I had and how I single-handedly destroyed that. So that's pretty much what I meant is, the way you're loving. She even said to me once, your love hurts. It's not nice, it's crap. But yeah, I'm the one that destroyed like what could have been a good marriage or a good friendship. I'm the one that did that because if you didn't do it the way that I thought you should, then you didn't love me and you're a horrible person, and always twisted the blame to basically my victim. So it went from very restricted to a hell of a lot more freeing. And I've learned, how to let people go better and let them just be free, because that's what I want. Um, but I had to see what kind of person I was choosing to be as well. I'm going to lose these things if I don't get a freaking grip on myself. So
My
I hope that
question, so honestly, yeah, it absolutely answers it. But honestly, she had a big impact on you. So what is it exactly that she did to help you realize what you were doing?
um, she was honest. I mean, first she's like, okay, I sugarcoated it and sugarcoated it. And then it was like blatant, and then she's like, I can't have you in my life. I can't do you. So she was trying to take care of her mom who was sick. And, I was making progress and then I had slammed. That's why I say I've only really been at this for like 7 years, 6, 7 years. Um, but I had to move out. I had to go back to my biological mother's house because I didn't have nowhere else to go at that point, and I needed to be able to get my own apartment and all that. And but I lost her, and I was like devastated. Like I fell into this really deep depression because she always made sure my needs were met. She always made sure to ask how my day went, how I'm feeling. Somehow she just knew that I needed something to make me happy. She always took care of everything. And she's a very generous person. And yet she got treated with such I don't want to say disdain, but in a way it kind of was. And I was incredibly jealous of who she was as a person. And I was a liar, there was a lot going on. But I had to lose all of those really good things in order for me to finally recognize everything I needed to recognize, like what I needed to do in order to keep anything good in my life, because I thought that was it. So I was like, I wasn't gonna like suicide, but I was gonna like push death as quickly as possible. I started like binge drinking and all of that because I just didn't want to. I didn't want to get up anymore. I didn't want to anything because it's like there's no point living right now. I've got nothing, everything that matters and that should have mattered to me, I lost because I took it for granted.
There was very
So
much a case of you don't know what you have until it's gone.
precisely. And so that's why I'm like really big. Like, I don't know. I just wish that they would. I'm like, just maybe you have to just let them go for a minute. And if they don't come back, then they weren't feeling anything they were saying they were feeling, but if they do come back, then awesome. And yeah, my whole world like got better when um my mama emailed me like 2 weeks later. I didn't even realize that she did because it was an email I barely checked. um and she had called me and I was like, you're still gonna talk to me? Like I thought that was it. But I made my own decision. I'm not gonna lie unless I'm protecting innocence, like a little kid's getting beat by their dad. I'm gonna lie to the dad and be like, I don't know where the kid is. Or and I'm going to, it's from the movie Robots. There's a quote, see a need, fill a need. So I'm gonna do what I can. So if somebody asks me for $5, I'll give them $5. Whatever they do with that is not my business. If they're gonna go buy drugs or whatever, that's on them. That's not on me. But I just needed to do something and I needed to get busy. And that's what I did. But if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't know like how to love properly. I wouldn't know what that looks like, especially when it's coming at me. When someone says they love me and then they do all these things that you're like, how? What is all that, Um, I wouldn't have known that. I would have just thought that was the way it is, and feeling sorry for myself. But the more confidence you get and the more you know what love actually is, nobody can really like bullshit you pretty much is my best term for that one. So I I
When
don't
you
know. I mean,
finally realized what kind of habits were killing your relationships and really killing yourself at that point, what was the process of overcoming that?
mm, um, so I'm just gonna lay this out. Those things never go away,
Mm,
but it's choosing. So it all happens in your mind. Everything starts with your thoughts. So if I'm having a thought that I want to do something a little manipulative, because I was really good at that to charm people, So if I wanted to do something manipulative that wasn't good to get, I don't know, this guy's attention away from this other person, if I have those thoughts, like I could do it. Yeah, I could do that. And I just go, no. And I leave. Sometimes the only thing you can do to like change a habit like that is to just walk away.
mm,
Don't even participate in it, even if you don't know what the best thing to do is. The best thing to do really is to just not do it and go away. So, but that's a lot of work. You got to do that every day of your freaking life, and it does get easier. It's like a morning habit, a routine. Um, healthy habits, whatever people build, like a habit to go for a walk. If you don't do it every day, it doesn't become like part of you. You just kind of are half assing it, basically. So if you walk every day, it just becomes like ingrained in you. So changing your mind about doing a specific action, you have to be very, very on top of it. Otherwise, you're never going to change. You're like, I have changed. It's like, no, no, you haven't. But it's even with your thoughts, even negative thoughts, like self thoughts. You have to go, you know what? That's not helping me at all because I'm a decent person. I'm just human. I'm doing the best I can right now and hope that gets better. So I think that answered that question.
yeah, yeah. So, if you had to give love based on your views now versus back then, how would you define it for the viewers?
How I would give love to people. Like it's in my actions. It's in am I listening to you? Am I hearing you? Do I retain anything that you tell me? Even comes down to care. Do you care how their being is, especially if they come to you with something that's soul crushing? If you care enough and you ask them how they're doing, you need to check in. Otherwise, it's like they feel like whatever. This person doesn't care about me. They don't love me. But care is a huge part of love. Like, because I'm a caregiver. But the thing is, if I didn't feel love, like I wouldn't really care if, like, I don't know, they needed a bath that day or if they were hungry or if they're comfortable, like if they feel okay. And you don't degrade them when they do something human. Everybody like pees themselves from time to time, everybody, but it's just like knowing that that makes you feel undignified and to try to ensure that they feel that dignity. If you're not getting it back, I'm not saying you should do the same in return, but I'm saying you probably should walk away because it's just not that's where you're gonna be stuck with while you're killing yourself, while you go out of their way because you're thinking of them and you get them a gift. It's little things like that that add up. Your actions have to show the other person that what you say you mean. You can say words all you want, but if you're not gonna put any action behind it, then you're just a liar and you don't really feel what you feel. So
Yeah, I mean, I've
it-
always been a big believer. That's one of the reasons, obviously, I'm also just an introvert that I don't say a lot because
yeah.
words don't mean anything if you're not gonna act on them. So that's
Right.
why whenever I do something that's me showing I care, I'm not gonna tell you because
Right.
that's up to you to believe. But
No, that's great
anyway,
that you
so oh yeah, I try and live by that every single day. I'm like, I'm not gonna tell you, I'm gonna show you.
right.
Now, obviously, people have different ways of showing love and how they empathize with people. Would you say that your experience, I probably know the answer, but would you say your experience is what helps you to empathize with people? And even when they're being nasty to you, still share that love and that care?
Yeah, I do feel a lot of empathy and compassion, especially like it doesn't mean I'm gonna be like, oh, that's excuse it, be like, your behavior sucks. But I do feel it because I know what that is. I know what it is to be that far out of control and feel like you can't do anything about it. And when someone comes to you with it to flip out, that whole defending your bad behavior. Um, but I feel for them as well. I feel a lot of empathy and compassion because it's like, I know the mentality. I know why you're doing what you're doing. And I know it sucks when someone comes to you with this. But in the same respect, like if I can like overcome all my crap, like anyone can overcome their own. But I feel for them. I know where they are. I know how hard it is, especially when everyone just like vacates because they can't handle you in that moment. It 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 can be devastating. It can be depressing, but in the same respect, maybe you should listen.
Mm.
So I do feel that level. And I also go, if I can do it, me of all freaking people in this world, anyone can. And that's something my mom always said to me. If I can change, anyone can change. So, but it's good because it makes me not completely hate them. I have like an aversion to people, but I do understand where they are. I just know that when it's unchecked, uncontrolled, you're more apt to cause harm.
Mm.
If you're aware of it and you're more under control of what you're thinking and all and you really know how you hurt people, you're less likely to cause harm. You just got to be real.
Now, how do you deal with those kind of people and help them realize what they are doing?
I will I will talk to them, especially, if it's just some random, I'm like, whatever, that's not my problem, that's their problem. But if it's somebody that, I'm developing a friendship with or any kind of relationship with, I will talk to them and I will try to show them a different way. And I will do it as often as I can. But if all I'm met with is like obstinance and like I want to say like negative justification, like they're justifying their crappy behavior and that I don't know what I'm talking about, and you got to let them go. But I
Mm.
will talk to them first. I will give them opportunities because if they say they want to change, then I have no choice but to believe them until they show me otherwise.
Mm.
So I do talk to them. I do give them like, even if it's a book, I try to give them tips. I try to give them words of advice, anything like that. And I do say, if I'm messing up, please tell me. I need to know these things. I need to know where I'm going wrong. But if they don't, I have no choice but to let them go because that's what they want.
Mm.
And I don't want it. So it's like, I love you enough to let you go so you can make whatever choices you're going to be making for yourself, but I don't want to be a part of it. I have to love me enough to do that too.
Yeah,
So,
I definitely can relate on some level. Like my uncle, I love him, but he can't be helped. At one point, he finally admitted that he's not happy and has been for a while. We thought that would be the turning point, but
yeah.
it seemed like it for at least a few months. He seemed to be doing better, and now came crashing down, and it's not his fault. And
Yeah.
so we just gotta let them keep messing up until they hopefully eventually learn.
Yeah. But they have to want that. See, that's
Mm.
a hard part. She can't.
Yeah.
I can want it for him or you can want it for your uncle. And if he doesn't want it, if he feels like he's not worthy enough
Mhm.
to be happy, to make better choices or whatever his situation may be, he's not gonna do it. Especially, I'm like, well, I guess you're happy that way. And I can't waste my time. It's gonna drag me down too, you know? So yeah, it is rough though when you love somebody that much and they just don't want to, pretty much. I mean, it just comes down to that. It's kind of sad though. It's really sad.
It is for sure. All right. Well, that's all I've got unless you have anything.
No, not really. I thought those are great questions, and I think I did better on this one than I've done on any other one. I was like, this one is more controlled, and I'm not looking at comments and stuff. Like, I'm not good at those LinkedIn lives at all.
Oh yeah, that's why I haven't done any live streams. I'm like, I'm nervous enough as it is, and you got a bunch of people throwing questions at me. Just keep
Right.
going.
I can't
So
do it. If I ever do a podcast, I'm going to kind of do what you're doing, just on the side. And if you have questions later, I'll address them in text or
right.
you could call me or whatever you need to do. But
Yeah, and that's also the main point of doing this way because obviously this is much more personal, more heavy and stuff. So I don't want to overwhelm people. Like
yeah,
you're already doing a lot by sharing your story with people. I don't want you to get bombarded by a million questions from a million strangers, right?
right, right.
So
Oh,
it
yeah,
makes it a lot more intimate this way, more conversational, more natural.
yeah. I like this. I really like what you're doing with this because it's kind of like after my own heart kind of thing, like where you're just trying to get people to be more vulnerable and show that it is okay to do that and that we're all human and we all make mistakes. So I was just like super happy that you asked me to do these things
Yeah,
because
well,
that's
I've
for.
seen you on other podcasts and how you're posting vulnerable stuff. I'm like, I have to get her on here. She knows this kind of heaviness and heavy experiences, and I need people to see that and that things can get better. And that's really the
Right.
whole point because I struggle with talking about how I feel. So I
Yeah.
want to provide something that I needed in my life because I know other people need that too. And
Yeah.
oftentimes it's hard to get past things when you feel so alone because you don't know how to go about it. So seeing people in the same situation as you, like, okay, I can do this.
Right. Right. It's good. I'm very proud of you of this. I was like, I'm doing all of anything she asked me to do. I'm doing it.
Well, I appreciate it. And I appreciate you coming on here for the second time. Always happy to have you. Before we close out, any closing thoughts for the viewers?
um, no, I've got nothing right now. I just kind of went, "Brr." I just,
All right.
yeah, just, you're going to be okay, folks. You're not alone and reach out, man. My goodness.
For
We're all
sure. All
human.
right. Well, that's the very first episode in the books. Thank you
Good
again
job.
for coming and
All
tune
right.
in soon for the next episode.